Hello, once again, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and I'm here first. Before I get to one unboxing, I'm going to do a quick shout out to the friends and family of actor, comedian Paul Reubens. I know this video is coming out very late because I pre-record, but for those that might be unaware, Paul Reubens passed away at the age of 70 after an illness with cancer. Brief, not brief actually, I think it was like 6 or 7 years, and kind of kept it from everyone. Why am I mentioning it on the channel? Well, Paul Reubens, while most notably known for the role of Pee Wee Herman, kind of a Saturday morning kids show from the 90s, he, and to Star Wars fans, or at least to Star Wars and Disney fans, he is known as the voice of Rex, the pilot from Star Tours, and then eventually became DJ Rex, the pilot turned DJ in Galaxy's Edge, Oga's Cantina. And anybody who grew up, I always feel like Disney and Star Wars' relationship began well before the purchase in 2012. And in fact, it began as far back as 1987 when George Lucas teamed up with Disney to create Star Tours. And in doing so, they utilized the voice talents of Paul Reubens to create the character of Rex, the pilot robot. And for such a long time, and I've said this on the channel, for such a long time, Disney was the custodian of Star Wars. They kept things going during those dark times because of Star Tours. And that, part of that was due to the character of Rex, who was the one piloting your ship and getting into all sorts of trouble and antics, and voiced perfectly by Mr. Reubens. So I say that I wish him well in terms of resting in peace, and I reach out to his family and friends and hope they're doing all right at this time, at this difficult time. He didn't tell anybody about his illness until he basically sent out a note after the fact. So. Rest in peace, Paul. Thank you so much for all of your talents. I know those who know, have been around long enough know that he's had a lot of ups and downs in his career, and I'm so pleased to see someone be able to have a rise, have a fall, and then rise up again. And for Disney to stick close to him and stand by him and support him, even after some of his downs, I think was class act. So, again, thank you so much, Mr. Reubens. Okay, Lightspeed to Endor, rest in peace. Okay, now, moving on. We have one unboxing today. It's actually an unpackaging because I already unboxed it, because these guys, if you've ever had to get one of these through Gentle Giant, you know that they come with a whole bunch of packing peanuts. And as you can see, I am outside. And as you can also maybe see, if you look behind me, you might see some wind and movement happening. Well, wind, breeze, and packing peanuts, they don't go well together. So I was very careful to unbox that already. I didn't want to put my unboxing packing peanuts and having them blow everywhere beyond the channel. So we skipped that part and we went right to this. This is the Gentle Giant Jumbo Han Solo and Stormtrooper disguise. Now, I will tell you that Gentle Giant has kind of switched for the most part. And if in looking down, I'm looking at this, and I've done this on the last time I had this episode. If you look at their, coming soon action figures, there's something you should notice, and that is if you look through every single one of these figures except for the last one, the Imperial Officer, they are all newly designed figures. They're either retro style, jumbo versions of retro figures that Hasbro's put out, which, I guess the Mandalorian, Grand Moff Tarkin, both Mandalorians, I guess, and maybe Admiral Thrawn, I can't remember. Those are all, or released. I think Admiral Thrawn not yet. The other ones are all ones that Hasbro put out as like retro style figures. The rest of them are just concept designs, Boba Fett prototype, Vader, Macquarie sketch, Luke Skywalker Macquarie sketch, Admiral Thrawn. And this one is the same. It has never been actually created by Hasbro or by Kenner. Okay, we got a Luke. The Luke came out of the Power of the Force figures. The last line to come out was Luke. but we never got Han. So I don't think that Hasbro has come up with a small one. I know that there have been a lot of customizers that have made like kind of mass-produced a Han Solo. It's not a really hard custom to do. You get if you find a loose Luke and a loose Han, and take the head off the Han and the head off of Luke and replace them, then you pretty much have this figure. So it's not a hard customization to do, but I don't think there's ever been an official release other than, the new sculpts. But so that's what we have here. So it's great. I mean, I've always loved the packaging. I will say I'm starting to feel maybe the pull to lose some of these eventually. Maybe put them out at the next Star Wars sale. Why? Simple. Again, I'm trying to downsize, trying to make more space. I'm trying to space things out more appropriately. These take up a lot of room. I do store the packages. They're packaged really well. Aside from untaping them, they pretty much can be displayed in the card or out of the card. And they're versatile, right? So I've kept all the packages. They're all stored up in the attic. And but I do feel that this does, these things you can imagine, they have to have at least 70, 80 figures now. And I haven't even purchased all these yet. I've only purchased some of them. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to. So I'm starting to pull back. I'm maybe just thinking about sticking to the original. But I do like the Han Solo and the Stormtrooper, so, I try to do that. But needless to say, even loose, these guys take up a lot of room. So we will put it out there. We'll take a look at it loose and see what we've got. But, I'm curious to line it up against the Luke one. I know they did a Luke one as well, which was an actual power, as I said, a Power of the Force release back in the mid-'80s. It was like the last line before they switched over to, they did, I guess, the Ewoks and Droids cartoons, and then that was really it. I wonder if they're going to do that. I wonder if that's going to be the next thing. I don't know how popular the Ewoks and Droids figures. I love them, but I don't know how popular they are among collectors for them to, for Gentle Giant to consider that. But I do appreciate the creativity in selling older items, which I like, but and creating like what if kind of prototype concept figures. I always love that idea. It's just when you start to run out of room, right? Again, though, beautifully packaged. Aside from those pieces of tape, it just kind of very gently and easily comes out. Does include a Gentle Giant kind of catalog of things that they have coming out. I do not collect any other Gentle Giants. They have busts, they have statues. I don't collect any of those, really. I just stick mainly to that. Okay. Ugh. All right, let's start with, looks like they got away from twist ties, which is good. Okay, got the blaster. Now, interestingly, the blasters seem to be made of more of a rubbery material. I don't know if that's always been the case, but let's get Han out of here. Yeah, they are a little bit, yeah, I don't know what to say about this helmet. There we go. All right. Now, I will say that if I ever decide to sell these, I will not sell them new. They will be used on display figures because, frankly, yes, they do a pretty good job of, reinserting them if need be, but they are, in fact, they're not mint anymore. So, okay, so the biggest issue I've had with these figures is not being able to hold the weapons, okay? But then again, that was the same problem with the small figures, so we'll see if this more pliable rubber is any better. So let's see if I get him in there. Okay, strike one. All right, so it seems like if I turn it a little bit, in very much similar fashion to the original figures, if I turn it slightly inside, or on the outside, it holds up all right. would have to hold him. How about the helmet? Now, I can tell that the helmet is designed in such a way that if you set it up on there, he does kind of look a little different. If you line this up next to a Stormtrooper that doesn't remove the helmet, you can definitely see it different. They have to do a little bit of play to get the helmet to fit. But overall, it's great. I do love, love, love the figures. Now, interestingly enough, I want to point one thing out. The Lucasfilm logo on the back says 1984. So these are basically just blow molds of the original figures. But they never made this figure. So, as I said, this is probably the exact same blow mold that they used off of a Luke figure, because Luke is the figure that came out in 84. I believe 84 was the Power of the Force. I'll never forget that. I always remember watching the commercial. There was like one commercial, and it always reminded me of, there was a TV show that came out, a miniseries called V, which for me kind of took the place of Star Wars. Once Star Wars ended, it kind of filled that void after Star Wars ended. And it was this great TV series about these aliens that come from another world, and they come in, they fly in these big flying saucers, and they land right outside of all the major cities, and they come out, they have these really cool like red uniform type things, and they look like us, but it turns out they're not really us. Their skin tears away, and they're actually lizards, and it was like a whole like fascist takeover, and there was resistance and everything, and it was a great show. It was like a 2-part miniseries, and then they had a final battle 3-part miniseries that was just fantastic. They tried to make a series out of it, but it only lasted 1 season. It wasn't they cut the budget so much that it just didn't make sense. Anyway, why am I telling you this? Because these scenes with these giant mothership things, similar to Independence Day, kind of flying in. Well, I don't know. Somebody at Kenner must have thought that was a great idea, and because they came out in '83. When they did the commercials for these figures, they would show the giant, because these figures originally, the Luke figure with the Power of the Force figure and all the Power Force line, the last line, they came with coins. So they made the coins the big thing, and then they had giant coins kind of coming in like motherships. So they must have taken the idea from V. But anyway, I just thought that was really cool. But yeah, 1984, that's what it's on the back of the leg. So they definitely are using the Luke body for this. So kids, if you want to customize your own Han Solo figure, you get the small Han. You find a loose small Han Solo, preferably a dingy, messed up one. Okay, because you don't want to spend a lot of money. And if you find a dingy, messed up one, you probably won't have to pay that much for it. And then you find a Luke, a little harder one, to find a Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper loose design figure. Those were less, they weren't as popular, so they got taken off the shelves sooner, so they're a little more rare. But if you can find a loose one, you get 2 of those, take the head off of the Han, take the head off the Luke, and switch them up. And then, hey, you put Luke on Han, and then have Luke wearing Han Solo's clothing, just like Lando did, and it'll be all weird. So there we go. That will do it. Great figure, stands fine, still holding his weapon after all this time. So, beautiful job. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification, all that other jazz. Check out the rest of my content and all the other content available to you on the Red 5 network. Thank you, Red 5, for supporting and spreading the word on our channel. Check me out on Instagram and X. Not Twitter anymore, just X, as well as Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.